Hello everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now in this video I want to talk about um, the practice or the modality that I offer here at Truly Holistic and a few additional benefits that you can keep in mind to get the best out of your experience of having a session here at Truly Holistic. Not only the session work but also the tools that we either distribute or I make here at Truly Holistic and how you can get the best out of those and how they can help you. Okay? And also the developments that have been happening here at Truly Holistic too, in regards to the method of true quantum healing that we use here is a little bit is very unique and a little bit different to other people that perhaps are using the true quantum healing method. So I want to discuss that and how that's evolved of late too. We know that there's a lot of big energetic changes that are currently happening leading up to the 21st December too. So we're really going to kickstart into this 2021 year with some really big shifts going on at a quantum level, but that are going to also affect not only the people that are very consciously aware and awakened, but also the collective. So it doesn't matter what level you're at, there are going to be shifts that are going to be occurring that are going to affect you. So we'll get into that as well. So first of all, a big thing that's been coming through is the ability to, one, create space and hold space. And for quite some time, it's really been this word space has been coming up a lot. And I'm a true quantum healer, so I look at everything in a quantum perspective. And I know there's a lot of people that are healers and they also astrologists and so on, and they look at the whole aspect of the cosmos and expansion of the cosmos. And I guess that's where the word space comes into it, right? We look up at the sky at night and that's space out there. But what I'm trying to talk about is our role that each one of us has as a creator. And part of that role is creating for space or creating space. And not only I have people that are awakened coming to me or conscious, but even people that are not awakened or haven't done the conscious work, and they're just coming to me for me to work on illnesses and diseases and issues of that manner, pain problems, back pain, neck pain, and a number of other things like that. Is that I also get people that are healers themselves coming to me too, and people that are very highly intuitive individuals, and they use a number of methods, not only true quantum healing but other methods too. And what I'm seeing a lot, especially those group of individuals, is there's a lot of clearing work being done, getting into charts, getting into systems, and doing clearing work day in, day out. And not enough of this aspect of creating space and then holding that space. And when we create and hold space, we can then, after the clearing work we've done, it maintains. Okay, you don't have to go the next day and clear your stuff out of this negative energy. And a lot of people that are very highly awakened and intuitive and healers, they feel like because they are more sensitive to energies, they're just getting attachments all the time. So hence the reason I'm having to clear themselves all the time. But your perspective or your place of attention of knowing or feeling like you are going to always get attachments as part of that creation of why you're getting attachments coming to you. And so it's vital, and I'm seeing really not a lot of an emphasis on this creating and holding space. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but also things that we have here at Truly Holistic that can help you with that, with creating and holding space. So when I say creating and holding space, I'm talking about the time when you're not doing clearing work. Okay? Our two powers, and again, healers, highly intuitive people use this with the clearing work, is one, where you place your attention, and two, how you use your intention. Okay? But when you're creating a space and holding that space, the beauty about that is that you're creating a space where you can receive downloads, new energy, but at the same time not get the attachments from the negative stuff. And at the same time, while you're bringing in this new spectrum of vibration and frequency that's upgrading you all the time, you're not one. You're not one. Not having to place your attention for that healing effect to occur, and two, you're not having to use intent to allow that healing to occur. It just naturally happens. Okay, so it means that you don't have to do as much clearing work, and I found this out the hard way myself. You know, I was that person that was doing clearing work on myself all the time, but for quite some time now, I haven't been doing that. You know, I can't really remember the last time I put an hour's work into myself, because I realized, and I've been practicing this aspect of creating and holding space, and a big part of that has been the tools that we've been developing, and again, that's the other aspect I'm going to talk to you about too, about this. Because the thing about the tools, and I'm a distributor of Crystalline Incorporated tools like the Sun Ring, the Neutralization Ring, and Divinity Ring, and a number of their products as well. We've also got another one right here of the Crystalline Incorporated range, which is the Ankh. Okay. Now, that uses geometry. Now, the thing about these rings here is they create a vortex. Okay. One creates an anti-clockwise vortex, and one creates a clockwise vortex. Hence why they're really well, it's really good to use them together, because one restructures the field, so therefore the field is structured so it's in formation. Now that's an important aspect of that information, because what you're doing is you're creating the field to then be able to hold onto new information. Okay, because what do we know about ascension? To grow and evolve is to accumulate wisdom, which is in formation. Okay, now if your field is not structured, and then you bring a tool like this, which is a charging tool, so it's bringing in new information or new energy, then you won't be able to hold on to it. So hence the need for that particular tool, right? Now, there's a number of other tools you can use instead of the neutralization ring, which do a great job in regards, again, transmuting that field in from a non-structured or distorted field or uncompatible field into a structured compatible field that then can take on new wisdom, new information, right? Okay, and a big part of taking on that new information is receiving it, again, creating a space for yourself, but also connection to your higher aspects of self, okay, because they're going to bring this new information through, which is then you having the experience through the human change your perception of reality, okay? Because while you're playing out the human with these duality eyes, you're playing out a reality that is less than 1% of the light visible spectrum. Now, so the changes that you're going to make is not necessarily going to be by what you see, it's going to be by what you feel. Okay, and that's the difference again between the mind and the heart. The mind gets you stuck because you're being directed by these two eyes and being directed by the mind instead of feeling through the heart, okay, where you can connect to the other 99% of you that exists out of this slim reality that we live as a human being, right? So the tools I'm talking about is Tensor tools, and these are the tools that I make here at Truly Holistic, and this is an example of them. I've got them on my water bottle, okay, and again, I walk the talk with all my tools. I have tools everywhere, and I use them for my water, I use them on my food, I have tools in my bathroom, in my shower, the water that comes out of the shower. I wear bracelets, I wear pendants, I've got them in my lounge, my living room area, I have them everywhere, okay, because I know the importance of them. When I do that, it enables me to have the odds in my favor to create that space and hold that space, so I don't need to do as much clearing work on myself, okay? Now, there's also the element of free will, of choice as well, because the mind can then then block a lot of that stuff at the same time. So we'll go over that. So tensor rings are, that's a tensor ring, right? So it's wire, copper wire that's been twisted and then cut to a particular cubit measure. Now that cubit measure has to be very precise, and depending on what, because there's a number of cubit measures out there, what's either what frequency or what spectrum of frequencies it's gonna then anchor or channel through that column which is within that ring. Okay, there's a difference between that, okay, so it's a column, and a difference between the sun ring, because the sun ring then broadcasts that energy out. Okay, it's not just within the column of that ring. Okay, now a tensor ring, okay, we use mainly 3 cubit measures here, and I have done videos on this before, so I'm not going to go into any great depth about this. This one's the activation, this one's the gateway, and we also make other rings and products with the ascension qubit, which is the qubit measure that holds all qubits within it, the full spectrum of frequency. And I guess a lot of people ask, well, why don't you just use that one? Well, some people are not ready to take on all those frequencies, so that's why we do have these other qubit measures that kind of facilitate that pathway leading to being able to be within that field of all those frequencies and take those on. So that's why we have the gateway, and that's why we have the activation qubit measure. So the thing about this is the field that anchors in, as I say, it's a specific, it's either a specific frequency or a spectrum of frequency. The 3 qubit measures I'm talking about create spectrums of frequency, okay? Not one frequency, not like the slim Sperling rings of the raw sacred qubit and the lost qubit. Now, the energy that is being anchored, which is a vortex, okay, because vortex is the geometry of flow, okay, because anything you think about, energy is all about flow. All the systems in the body, the digestive system, the lymph system, the cardiovascular system, relies on flow, right? Because if we don't have flow, then we're in big trouble. A flow problem manifests in the physical body, if we can call it physical, because of what's going on at a quantum level. Okay, so everything starts off in the quantum level. Everything originates in the quantum level. Okay, hence that's why we work there. Hence why we have the moniker for Truly Holistic, is we work on the root of the problem, not the symptoms. Okay, it's not a superficial level. We go right to the root where everything starts from. Okay, now the field or the spectrum of frequency, the light that this ring allows or anchors into this reality, enables you to grow and evolve and ascend. Okay, and that's coming through that ring without my place of attention having to be on it, or for me to use any intent for it to actually come through. It just does. It just happens by itself. Okay, so it's enabling to bring a spectrum of frequency that is leading me on the right path towards ascending without me really having to be present for it to do that. Okay, so these things help with creating but also holding a space. Okay, now it's pure flow of energy coming through here, because no other intelligence or consciousness that is wanting to manipulate for you to get into a fearful space. Okay, this is when we create a space where we sabotage our creation. So if we're doing healing work and clearing work and we don't hold that space and we get back into creation through fear, then we unravel all the healing work we did the day before, right? So the thing about the flow coming here, nothing can manipulate. That is pure flow. And at the moment here at Truly Holistic, within session work with clients, we're really emphasizing this aspect of bringing pure flow back in, and we actually make the intent, which is called Vortex True, to enable that. Okay, because there's been hidden hands redirecting that flow and messing that about, which creates then that frequency to be distorted and unstructured. So therefore we cannot then hold on to information, which means we cannot accumulate wisdom, which therefore we cannot ascend. Okay, and that's been a big part of this duality reality that's been going on. Okay, So I hope you're sticking with me so far, right? Okay. So as I say, it enables you to keep growing and evolving these rings. The Tensor technology, we make a number of things. We make what this is called the ascendant, okay, and this connects you to higher aspects of yourself in a very profound way. We make wands, we make pendants, bracelets with this technology. So whatever works for you. Okay, this is the water transformation pack or rings. I add those on my water, and it does a fantastic job of structuring the water, so the water can then hold on to information, right? So it does a number of wonderful things. Okay, and I like to use the example of before I got into energy medicine. The first thing I knew about with energy medicine was earthing. Okay, and the cool thing about earthing, just like these rings, is, sometimes when we're changing our diet, we have to have our attention on it. We have to have our intention involved with it. There's a lot of work for a lot of people, like changing up foods, learning new recipes to use those ingredients, and so on. But the cool thing about the earthing technologies was these earthing sheets is that we all need to sleep at night, right? We all need to have sheets on our bed. So what we do is we just swap our regular sheet for the earthing sheet. And you just have to lie on it like you normally do, going to bed at night, or hopefully for a number of you. It's been a bit hard sleeping at the moment with the big energetic changes that are being occurring right now. But it was easy. Okay, and you're reaping all the benefits out of it. Same with this technology, the Tensor technology. It's easy. You just need to have them around you, preferably within your field. And that's why I really advise pendants, bracelets, those sorts of things, because if you're going to wear them and you've got them on your body 24/7, then it's bringing in these frequencies of energies that are going to put the odds in your favor all the time without you having to place your attention on it or use your intention. So you don't have to actually get in the charts and do clearing work all the time. It just helps you out in regards to that. Now, if you feel like you have to be in the charts and you're doing the energy work all the time, it's most likely because you're not creating and holding that space to start off with, and your mind is becoming involved in part of the creation where you're sabotaging the stuff that you were doing. Or secondly, you're not connected when you're channeling your information in regards to your charts and your intuition. It may be a connection problem, and you may be being led astray by another consciousness or intelligence that's trying to get you into this state of creating from fear, not love. Okay, so now I want to shout out that we are going to put a sale on in regards to my Tensor Ring products post Christmas, because of the new energies that are coming through on the 21st of December. And to really get us started into this new year, 2021, making it a better year for a number of people. And so we're going to have a lot of products, especially with the Ascension Qubit measure, because the energies are going to be more in alignment with that now, with bringing what we call the field or space of neutrality in and shifting duality out. So there'll be some discounts in regards to those tools, so keep an eye out for that post-Christmas. Okay, so this is another note I wanted to mention to a number of people was, please understand that when you come and get work done here at Truly Holistic, I'm working on the quantum level. Okay, so sometimes people are coming to me and they're saying, I want you to work on a specific problem in a very specific area. And we may go to that specific area, but we also might work just in the quantum level. And a lot of people get confused because they think, well, why didn't you work on that wrist or my shoulder where I specifically said it? Now, the work that we're doing at the quantum is if we correct it there, then on the duality level in the shoulder or the wrist, all the issues will just clear up, because, again, we're creating the space where there was a disconnection, or there was an aspect of duality having an effect on why you had pain in the wrist or shoulder. So there's always a pathway in regards to what happens. And that kind of leads me to another subject we're going to talk about is, as part of true quantum healing, what I used to have was a whole lot of charts in my chart, which we used to call stressor charts, and they'd have words of all the things that could possibly cause a problem, you know, like lesion, cancer, inflammation, growth, bacteria, virus, Lucifer, devil, reptilian, all these different things, or it could be insulin or pus or anything that could be creating a problem. Now, I've been in my system. We removed that quite a wee while ago, and the reason why we did that was a majority of those stresses are duality stresses, okay, and this is where this truly holistic has really grown and evolved. Is where we're really getting to the roots of the problem at the quantum level. And as I say, if we can do the work, then a lot of those duality stresses just fall away on their own. Okay, a lot of the times why we continually to have those duality stresses or problems, because it becomes a bigger part of our awareness. And if we're spending a lot of time about awareness on that thing, our creation goes into keeping it there or creating it. Okay, so this is why I really wanted to emphasize on this creating space, because when we create the right space, then we don't let these things in, right? We let them go. Okay, two big words that we use at Truly Host that are super powerful is forgiveness and surrender, because we enable to let go of the things of the past and we start anew, because we have an opportunity at every moment to start anew. Okay, to see everything with virgin eyes, not associate it with predetermined programming or information that we had in our past. The past is the past, it's done with. You got to let it go. Okay? So that's why those two clearings are very powerful. That will also enable you to create that space and hold on to a space in regards to you growing and evolving forth. Okay? Because the present moment, the now, is the stepping stones to your future. But if our awareness is in the past, we bring the past to the now, and then the past then becomes our future. And we call that a loop. Okay, we call that a feedback loop, a time loop where we what's the word? Where we sabotage our creation ability. We sabotage it, and we figure out, we wonder why do things go wrong with me? Why do I get bad luck? Why does the same thing happen to me? It's because of that reason. Okay, you're just not aware of your creation capabilities of where you place your attention, how you use your intent. Okay, so going back to these charts, okay, we remove them all. So as I said, when we removed all those duality stresses out, right, and I've just got some notes talking about here, because it's not, a lot of them are not addressing the root cause of the problem. Okay, as I say, which is the space we create and hold, okay, as well as our connection to self, okay, as I mentioned. Okay, so, because the quantum is where everything originates from, because what I stand by here as Truly Holistic, as I said, is our moniker, is we treat the cause, not the symptoms of the disease, okay, so that's why we kind of didn't need the stresses so much in those stresses chart, okay, it's not enough to clear things, because they come up on a chart. It's about knowing and understanding why they're there. And that was another big aspect in my evolution here at Truly Holistic, was instead of just going to the stresses chart and finding reptilian, right, where's reptilian? Let's say it's in that person's pancreas, reptilian false. We could just keep doing that. If you want to, see you later, I'll see you next week. Oh, you got another reptilian, clear it out. Well, that's not good enough for me. Okay, and there was a point in my healing that I couldn't do that anymore. I needed to know why they're here, which is knowing and understanding, which for me is ascension. Because what's ascension? Building up and accumulating wisdom. And a big part of that is understanding reality. Because there's a game being played out here in regards to reality. We call it the game of duality. And you need to know that game if you're going to grow and evolve and ascend. And I get a lot of people that say, I don't want to come back to a place where I feel like I don't have free will of where I want to go. Well, if you don't want to be part of that again, you need to understand reality. You need to understand this game of duality. So this is what we do at Truly Holistic here, okay? And we offer doing healing sessions, but I also offer sessions where if you want to learn more about how to understand reality and bring all this wisdom into your healing practice, well, we also do sessions with spiritual counseling and information if you want to learn more. And I'll teach you a lot about these things I'm talking about here. Okay? So as I say, it wasn't good enough for me just to clear stuff. I needed to have greater knowing, greater understanding of why they came up on the chart in the first place. Okay? And now we work on that aspect because we know that now. We know why they came here. I know why they kept coming up all the time. Because I learnt the game of duality. I learnt what reality is all about. And that's very important. Now, I don't even have in my chart system specific charts that have specific names of bacteria, viruses, mold, funguses anymore, because they're just all labels. Okay? What I come to find is bacteria is all the same. It's just dependent on the environment that's given to it will change its behavior. So it can be beneficial and it can be pathogenic as well. The same bacteria. It's not about a group of strains of bacteria that are just all pathogenic and some that are good for you. No. They change. They're polymorphic depending on the environment. Because what we do know is everything in this physical reality, which is an illusion itself, quantum physics is that we're just a projection of light. We're a projection of consciousness at the quantum level. Hence, everything starts at the quantum level. Okay? So if you give that microbe the right environment, the right energy to evolve itself, because the universal law is that all consciousness must evolve itself, then that microbe will always work with you, for you, because you're in a symbiotic relationship with these microbes. It's not about killing them. They are your friend. You don't want to, by throwing medications at them, trying to kill them, the idea of this germ theory that we've got to kill everything, why turn it into a foe? That's going to, it's in the long term, it's going to cause you a lot more problems. So again, we understand and know why bacteria behave they do. Funguses, molds. We know what viruses are. Viruses, bacteria, mold, and funguses, yeasts are quite similar. Viruses, not close to them. Viruses is programming. Very much the way we see computer programming. And viruses we get on a computer. Same thing with us. Parasites, symbolism of parasite is it feeds on your energy. So parasites are very much connected to consciousness that are feeding on fear or feeding off your energy. So we know all the answers in regards to what these things are. Okay, so we're not just working on a superficial level. We're going all the way back to why they are here, their origin. Okay, and we can clear it that way. And also because we know that, we can prevent that happening ever again. Okay. So let's go back. Where were we? So, as I said, here at Truly Holistic, we work at a quantum level where everything originates from. So, focusing on the root issues, okay? And one thing about when we do focus on the root issues, it may mean it may take a bit longer for things to materialize at this level, okay? And I'll explain why, okay? Because, as I said, we can do the clearings. But the person that has come to the session that is receiving those clearings, their ability to create and hold that space where they receive that and they hold that in place, because they come to me for 45 minutes to an hour for a session, but after that, majority of the time, they have to walk back into life, and we call that the game of duality. And if you're not aware of that game of duality and all the little booby traps that are presented to you every day, then you may dissemble or disable that space that we've created within the session, and then we unravel. They don't materialize. The clearing work that we did at the quantum level does not materialize because you're not creating a space to allow that to occur. Okay, so there's a number of factors here. Okay, so we're going to also look at this. So obviously, to achieve the best out of your healing session here, when you come to see me for a truly holistic session, is one, the need to create and hold that space to receive and materialize that manifestation of healing here at this level. Because it's a sliver of this full spectrum when we start to see it with our duality eyes. Okay, and that's another top for another day, the duality eyes and then the singularity eye here. Two, also, we've been programmed all our life that when we swallow a medication, a pharmaceutical, our pain can be gone in 15, 20 minutes. Inflammation can go down within 30 minutes to an hour. Please understand that. That is not healing. That's not healing the problem. That's removing symptoms. Okay. Please also understand that symptoms is communication of consciousness through the body. Okay. So when we rely on pharmaceuticals to do that action for us, okay, where modern medicine or other practitioners say, hey, your pain's gone or whatever's gone, everything's gone, it's cured it. No, it hasn't. It's just numbed the ability for the body to communicate. Okay, so please understand that. So a lot of people look at what we do here at quantum healing or energy healing, and they create the reference of modern medicine and comparing it to modern medicine and their approach, which is really pharmaceutical drugs. Okay, and that pharmaceutical drugs, they work a lot faster, but they either mask or that they don't cure the problem at the root level, or they mask it and eventually you get something even worse, and that may be cancer. Okay? Because you've numbed your body's ability to come and tell you something's not right. Okay? We can also apply that to medicinal herbs as well. Okay? Now, is there a place for the pharmaceutical meds in some examples and medicinal herbs? Yes. Okay? To work on things to get you out of a hard time, right? If you're in pain, no, you're going to have pain relief. I understand that. But you also want to be connected to a practitioner that is working on the root problem of that. So eventually you don't have to take things that are working at the symptomatic level or what I call the superficial level. Okay? So often, within sessions, often I acknowledge the use of symptomatic approaches, right? And taking a pharmaceutical or a supplement or medicinal herbs to get you through. There's no doubt about it. You need that. As I say, because sometimes, especially if you've got a chronic problem, when we work at this quantum level, there was a journey that you had and you undertook that took you into sickness or dis-ease, and there's going to be a journey for you to get back to wellness and vitality. Okay, it just doesn't happen like that. Well, one day you've got it, one day you haven't. Okay. Now, what's going to speed that process up? You creating and holding that space. Okay, and maintaining that to bring in the new vibration, not to block it. Okay. Now, one thing I will say about pharmaceutical drugs in particular, we can also maybe say this about medicinal herbs, is that everything has a consciousness. As I say, we used the example of microbes before, that those microbes can change their behavior because they are just a projection of their light, of their consciousness, right? So when we give that consciousness what it needs, it then will change the behavior or change how that bacterium looks from a beneficial or a pathogenic one. Same thing when we're taking substances like that, and this includes like CBD oil, okay, which is huge at the moment. Everyone's on CBD oil. Before that, it was turmeric. These things that people just jump on just because of the trend. What you need to do that to nullify the adverse effects, so that consciousness doesn't disconnect your own consciousness, right? And that's where we're starting to get into dependency and addiction with certain things, right? Because that's a consciousness thing. Another consciousness has taken over your body, okay, and your function, not your own consciousness. That's where the tensor tools, the neutralization ring, the sun ring, these tools really work, because what they do is these tools, okay, connect. When you use these tools, for example, when I'm using these tools on water, it's connecting this water to its higher aspects of itself. Okay? When I have these tools in my field, my auric field, it's connecting me to my higher aspects of myself. So when you use these tools on pharmaceuticals, on medicinal herbs, it's connecting it to its higher aspects of itself. Okay, so it's removing the agendas at a low vibrational state. So to feed on fear and create anxiety and those sorts of things. So the tools do a really good job. Same with the neutralization ring with your pharmaceutical medications. Using that and transforming the field of it so therefore it won't harm you. So that's where the rings really can put the odds in your favor if that's the approach that you do want to take or part of your healing modality. Now, we've already talked about, obviously, the rings to create a structured field, so therefore that field is in formation, so therefore you can hold information, so we're not going to go over that anymore. Now, last thing I want to talk about, and I know this is a long video, but I think this is very important stuff, is this is another example of how you can make your healing sessions even better. Because I have a lot of people that come to me and they want to do healing on a family member that is, one, probably not going to come to the session because it's not their deal. Okay, it's a little bit woo-woo for them, the whole quantum energy thing. Or they're just too busy, they can't make it. And I offer, that I can work through a photo, or I can work through that person that does turn up for the session as a conduit to their family member or a friend or so on. And we do that, and it works. The clearing work goes to that people. But one thing that we always rely on, and we talked about earlier, about the person that's going to receive that healing, is that space they create for themselves. And if they're unaware that they're having a healing session done on them, or they're not present, their ability to hold that is lessened. So therefore, the ability for that energy to affect at a higher level is impacted by the fact that they're not present or responsible at the session. Okay, so for example, when a client or person, I've just got some notes here. Client person hands over their responsibility, they will never be healed as well as a client or person that takes on that responsibility, because a big part of your healing, it relies on you being responsible for yourself, right? As no one knows their body better than themselves. So, when we look at the modern medicine system, right, a doctor, right, the whole, I know it is changing, but it's still there. The hierarchy of a doctor is we go to the doctor because he's an expert, and we say, we've got this problem, here you go, sort it out. Okay, so we give our responsibility to an expert, when really a big part of why healing takes place is your responsibility, because you're a creator of your reality. You just perhaps aren't aware of it, right? Or don't know how to use it. So you need to be part of that healing process, okay? So if you really want it to get to the level that you've always wanted it to. So as I said before, many clients book appointments for loved ones that are either not present at the session or unaware of the work being done. Now, we can use the person as present as a conduit for their loved one, as I mentioned. Now, the healing work done gets achieved, but because, one, as I say, the client is not taking the responsibility to be part of the healing, and two, they are not aware it's taking place, they don't create the space to receive the healing as well as it could be, and are creating a space where healing and creation cannot take place as they are using their power, place of attention, and their intention in a sabotaging fashion. As I said, that will unravel the work that's been done, because it's such an important aspect, creating and holding space. And these tools do a wonderful job of doing that. That's why I'm a big advocate of it. Not only my tools, but anyone else doing Tensor tools as well. Depends on the qubit measure, because it depends on then how high that spectrum of frequency is too. And that's why I really think we're cutting edge in regards to the Tensor rings because we've created a qubit measure that's got all qubits in it, the whole full spectrum in it, and a lot of people can't say that. Okay, so that's why people being present at the sessions, I've found, get more powerful clearings done. That's been my experience, right? Also, the people that buy these products, the bracelets, the pendants, I see evolve and grow a lot faster. I see it big time, okay? So not only they're receiving the healing, but also they, while being present, because I explain what we're doing as we go along. They receive the knowing and understanding of why we had to do the clearings. So then they take those same principles into their life. Because the thing is, you're with me for 45 minutes, and if I'm going to see you a week or two later, it's a sliver of your time over a week or two you're with me to create that space. So it's up to you to hold that space, right? Okay, to allow that healing to continue, which is a connection thing, but it's also its ability to just let go and be present in the moment as well is a big part of it. And that's why we do all these videos to help you with that stuff. Okay, because they want you, because the way that you live your life is essential to achieving or maintaining vitality, no doubt about it. Now, the way you lead your life is the issue a lot of the times. If we're doing energy work and you felt good at the session and all of a sudden, things are getting bad again. The same things re-manifesting. It's not about the clearing work was wrong. It's about the ability to hold on to that connection, because we go back into life in this game of duality. What's the key of game of duality? Is to put you in a state where you get stressed, and stress is a manifestation when you're disconnected from self and you lose that ability to create and hold a space. Okay, you start to get directed by reality, by life itself, instead of being channeled by your consciousness. Okay. As I just said, but when you return to so-called life and you continue the same traits and patterns that you've always done, which created that journey into illness or into sickness, okay, why you get a sickness or illness to start with is really a message to tell you need to change what you're doing. You need to change it. Okay? That's why you're getting those symptoms, that communication. Okay? As I said, to bring in awareness to stop what you're doing and change. Okay? And a lot of the times it's trying to tell you to do less doing, more being. Okay? And if I would summarize what creating holding spaces is being. Okay? When we're living our life in the moment, in the present moment, we're being. It's not necessarily about the amount of things we've got to do. And I did a post on Facebook before saying that happiness means you're successful, but success doesn't necessarily mean you'll be happy. Okay, and that's really the difference between doing and being. Okay. What does modern medicine always say? Stress is a killer. You run to your general practitioner, get your blood pressure taken. Did you see if you got high blood pressure? If you got high blood pressure, what's one of the first things they say? Are you stressed at the moment? Right? That's when life is dictating who you are and what you should do, instead of you creating that space for yourself, being, not doing so much, right? So, you'll notice that here at Truly Holistic, it's not only about just the clearing work, it's an education too, okay? And I'm trying to educate people about the game of duality, about reality. Because if you really want to heal at a very optimal level and to keep growing and evolving and ascending, you need to understand the game that's being played and therefore understand reality. So I hope everybody's enjoyed this video. I know it's a very lengthy video. Probably won't watch it all in one sitting, but so much to learn. We'll also, things that are coming to Truly Holistic, as I say, there's going to be a sale on some of the tools after Christmas, so keep an eye out for that. But also, we're going to create a system where you learn a lot of these principles. It's not necessarily going to be about healing or clearing work. It's going to be about learning these principles, and I'm probably going to put it into a cool thing where you train to be a Jedi. Okay, and when we look at the Jedi, the Star Wars universe, and you look at the principles of the Jedi, it's neutrality. It's creating space. There's no better model of showing that is the Jedi. So we're going to use those principles with the principles we already use here at Truly Holistic, and that's something that we're really going to focus on going into 2021 as well, and a number of other things that are coming your way. So I'm very excited about what's coming up. But otherwise, until next time, bye.